What's up, YouTube? Here live. Thanks for tuning in. I'm late to the fun. I've been here watching the fights, chilling. Crazy night. I've been live. I've been watching it live. I just haven't been posting. But man, I'll tell you what. There's some super dope fights going on. They're both opponents about to walk out. Both opponents are about to walk out, but I just got done watching Peter Yan lose 3 rounds to 2 in a unanimous decision. Sorry, split decision like, against Aljo. That was a good fight, and man, fun, packed evening. It's been a minute. Thanks for joining in. So, yeah, did you guys catch any of the earlier fights? Did you watch Hamzat get the decision over Gilbert Burns? Hamzat, I felt like, without being biased, I feel like Hamzat should have won, should have lost that 2 rounds to 1. Gilbert showed a lot of heart, rocked Hamzat a lot. Hamzat was surprisingly sharp with his striking. It was piecing up Gilbert a lot, but Gilbert was hitting with some haymakers, and Gilbert showed a lot of heart. And I'm a Gilbert fan. Hamzat 3 round war. We'll see what he can do in a 5 round war. Yeah, Aljo beat Peter Yan. He's the real champ, and man, Volkanovski's walking out right now. This is gonna be a good fight, man. Korean Zombie. People are like, he's lost, he's old, but Korean Zombie is experienced and he's rested. He's not fighting 3 times a year like a champion or a contender, so he gets more break to rest and improve. So who knows? He might catch Volkanovski. Volkanovski used to be 245 pounds, so that shit was crazy. He's my height and was 50 more pounds heavier than me. That's absurd. But hey, man, that's what it is. Lost all that weight, got cardio. I don't know, man. I feel like when heavy set people lose weight, they have so much energy. It's like all that fat cells they used to have, like, just becomes little. You don't really, you can burn fat cells, but they just shrink. You just burn the fat out of them. So it's like all those little fat cells become energy cells. And so people who used to be fat can have a lot more energy, surprisingly, than people who are lean. Sometimes people who are lean can have fat too, but they can go the distance. But I don't know. You sort of gotta understand. But anyway, we're gonna see what happens, man. I wanted Aljo to win, so I'm happy Aljo win. I'm an Aljo fan. I'm upset Gilbert Burns lost, but man, that was a war. But he made Hamzat bleed. He busting him up, and he showed that he's human. If that was a 5 round war, who knows would have won? Hamzat might have won, but in a 3 round war, I was I was like, yo, Kamara could beat that guy. I mean, Gilbert tried to take Hamzat down. Gilbert couldn't take how Hamzat down, but shit, he tried. Hamzat's got a good takedown defense, I guess. It is what it is. I mean, he's also a naturally bigger guy, so there you go. He's cutting a lot of weight. This is gonna be a good one. I hope this isn't too loud. Definitely not trying to get my video pulled down. Yo, it's funny when dude says it's time, everybody jump in with him. Anyway, post in the comment who you guys got. Mm. This is gonna be a banger, man. This whole evening has been bangers. But but Aljo Sterling, uh, in that 5th round, he was really diving for Peter Yan's knees, man. He was really diving a lot, so it is what it is. At least he won, man. I wanted to see him win the fight, so he won the fight, man. Good job. Oh, man. Let's get this going. Yo, the crazy part, I ended up going to sleep during like the first 3 fights in the main card. I woke up right at the Hamzat fight, and I was like, yo, I'm not even gonna go live. I'm gonna just watch the fight. So I ended up watching Hamzat versus Gilbert Burns, the full fight. That was cool. So Volkanovski is about to start fighting right now. He's about to start fighting the Korean Zombie. Volkanovski looks like Usada's been at Volkanovski's door. He's looking a little less muscular, which is interesting. He's looking a little bit more flabby. Um, Korea keeping his distance, staying on the outside of Volkanovski's. We're just gonna call him fucking um, Napoleon. Koreans outside Napoleon's range. Napoleon in the center. Napoleon takes a leg kick. Ooh, caught Korean with a check left hook. Korean's got his right hands down. He's trying to catch you with a jab, but his right hand is down to lean to try to get an attack. But we'll see if he gets a read on Napoleon's timing. Good fight. Napoleon on the outside, throwing hands heavy, circling outside. Napoleon with a leg kick. Napoleon is taking this fight right now. Korean is trying to just read the combos, trying to gauge the timing, trying to look for a counter. Korean's got his right leg wrapped, which makes me curious if he has an injury going into this fight. It's just one leg, not two to try to throw him off. It's just one. But Korean, good striker, good counter striker, likes to walk you down. Korean reaching with a right straight didn't had no effect at all. Napoleon is looking sharp and fast. It's interesting because he has a slight physique change, but he still has the same attitude when it comes to fighting. I'm curious what's happened in Australia. He's normally stronger looking than he is now. Napoleon throwing ones, twos, three, fours. Korean just caught a left jab. Korean has caught three jabs to the eyeball and he's already showing the signs of the jabs on his face. Napoleon is looking strong, taking the center of the ring, throwing hooks, throwing left jabs. Um, Interesting. Korean throwing hands. Korean's walking him down, trying to take the center of the ring. Looks like he's got a taste of his power, and he's like, "Ah, it's nothing." And now he's trying to stay on the outside, trying to catch him coming in. Korean is definitely looking like he's trying to catch him. He's being poised, being reserved with his punches. Alexander is on the outside, doing pretty well, looking fast, strong. Alexander's got Korean up against the fence. He went from a clinch position to now a takedown. Korean's on his back up against the fence, working his way up, wall climbing, back on his feet. Alexander still got the hands, keeping control, now underhooks. Oh man. Alexander holding on, one underhook, trying to throw with the left. Korean off the fence, going back, taking Alexander on the, against across the ring, and Korean landed a nice left hand. Korean just got dropped by a left hook. Alexander's got Korean rocked. Korean back on his hands, welcoming it, and he's looking to throw punches. Korean looks like there might be something wrong with his foot. Again, I mentioned earlier, it's wrapped up, and so now I'm curious what could have happened because he lost his footing, and I wonder if his foot is compromised. Second round just started, and both guys are circling the center of the ring. Koreans got Alexander going backwards. Korean holding his ground now in the center, taunting, not taunting, but challenging Alexander to approach, trying to catch him, trying to get him out of his game plan. Alexander missing head kicks. Korean trying to keep the outside of Alexander's range this round. Looks like he's trying to figure out how to get in. Alexander moving around, making Korean miss. Alexander counters with a right. Korean threw a heavy leg kick that was checked. Alexander very sharp. Ooh, Alexander just clipped Korean with a left hook. That left hook of Alexander. Again, another left hook. Alexander's left hook is looking good, man. I like it. Um, he's able to catch Korean coming in with his left hook multiple times. Hardin on the outside chilling. He not getting involved. Ooh, Korean just caught Alexander with a left, missed with the right. Alexander responding in between with a 1-2. These dudes are exchanging. Alexander is outstriking the taller Korean zombie man. However, Korean looks game. Looks like he could catch him anytime and is trying to. It looks like Korean is trying to get a timing, trying to time a counter. Korean looks like he might want to go for an uppercut. He's not showing what he's going for, but it looks like Korean trying to catch something. Wow. Korean just got dropped again by Alexander. Alexander framing up against Korean. Korean got back up and started swinging. It's crazy. Korean got dropped and then just stood up and started like instinctually swinging. It's like Korean is trained to wake up and start fighting. Like he just gets up and starts throwing punches. He don't want to grab you. Alexander took Korean down, has him down with 2 minutes left in the second round, and it looks like Alexander realized that the Korean is programmed to respond to fire with fire, and is just holding him down to get the round. Alexander's holding him down. Korean was about to get up. Alexander pushed him back down, and man, Korean Zombie trying to get back up, man. This fight will make a Korean Zombie fan. He will keep fighting. He's throwing heavy punches. Respect the Korean. Alexander getting in low on Korean. Korean's age is showing, bro. That his age is showing. Working in that military carrying no sacks might have made him tired, made him weaker. Crazy fight so far. Alexander really got to read with his hands on Korean. Alexander just went for a full body tackle on the Korean and took him down. Alexander is manhandling Korean Zombie at this point. It's the second round, and it's not looking good for Korean because Alexander is already showing dominance in this fight. Leading the dance, Korean is in a reaction stage, not being proactive. Korean needs to start throwing some hands. Maybe he feels like Alexander has such a speed advantage, which he is showing that he does, that Korean doesn't want to throw punches and get countered. So Korean is trying to counter Alexander, and Alexander is realizing what he knows what I am realizing now, and it's just going in and fighting this fight. Alexander just fighting this fight. He's got a gas tank that is absurd, and He's showing to be tired after that second fight. Yo, USADA must be knocking on Alexander's door because he's showing fatigue. I remember watching his fight against Brian Ortega, and I was baffled at how his cardio was, how he was just going, going, going. So I'm interested in seeing a change in physique to Alexander in this fight. I'm also interested in like surprised at him showing a little bit of fatigue. um, the difference is he is the difference I can say between the two fights is Alexander is going for more takedowns this fights, which could sap his energy more. Because in the Brian Ortega fight, he was just reacting and showing great takedown defense. He wasn't going for takedowns, which does keep your stamina higher for striking. So the shift of the fight could, you know, explain his him looking tired going into this third round. And Deli Garaway, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Del Garaway, yo, what's up? Salute to you, bro. Um, I got Alexander winning the fight 2 rounds up. Korean has won the round. This third round, he's throwing his hands now. Looks like he's trying to throw some shit. So we'll see what happens, man. Alexander missile for right, leg kick. Korean looks woken up at the third round, but we'll see, man. Korean is 145. Man, I'm wondering how much weight he has to cut to get down to 145. I mean, he's a tall guy for the class. I'll say he's right up there with Max Holloway in height. It seems maybe a little shorter. Korean throwing over the top hooks and is trying to catch Alexander. Alexander coming in, circling the cage, trying to throw lefts, trying to throw leg kicks. Korean is fighting this fight, going forward. Got Alexander circling the cage. Korean tried to go for a clinch follow with some uppercuts and a singer in the center of the cage. Alexander broke that up, broke free. They're both now in the center. Ooh, Alexander hit him with a right and then a left. Alexander is, man, the way that these kickboxers are coming out, man, they're just firing, bro. He's just firing. He will feint, and then when he's ready to fire, he will just fire. His output is crazy. And I mean, he's a shorter guy, so I mean, it's less mass to move. So I mean, can explain his heart? Because every human has the same size heart. Theoretically, I guess it might be small differences, but basically the hearts are the same size. So if you're smaller, then you should have a stronger gas tank than, or a better fuel economy than somebody who is 250, because their heart has to push more. So that could explain why his cardio is so crazy, just because of his height. But I mean, Korean Zombie keeping up with him. These dudes are just right now feigning, throwing one, twos, missing, trying to reserve the energy, trying to get a read, see where the other one's at. Korean is catching some shots now. Alexander, with a minute and a half left to go in round three, Alexander's picking up the pace, going for a takedown that got stopped, comes off of the takedown into a knee and then a leg kick. His combinations and like his just output is crazy. I always thought Demetrius Johnson had a crazy output, and he does. But Alexander's got a crazy output as well, man. These dudes here, these bald headed one punch man guys have some output. But I'm not saying that all bald headed guys have crazy output. That's not true. Shaq ain't got no cardio, and he bald headed. So boom, there you go. But yeah, man, this is a good fight. It's like 12:30 at my time, man. I'm tired. I should be asleep. But I'm saying I'm watching this fight. Just think if you're in Europe right now and you have to wake, you're waking up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. to watch this fight on the, on your broadcast. It's probably part of your cable package, so it's free. Like imagine that. You know what I mean? Australia is like I don't know 3 or 4 over there, isn't it? Imagine in the afternoon, Sunday afternoon, football time, you watching UFC fights. Ooh, Alexander just dropped Korean with some heavy shots. It's 15 seconds to go in the round three. Can Korean survive? He's on his back, trying to spin around Alexander, giving it all he's got now in a half mount, trying to punch him. Korean survives into the fourth round, and man, his face is wearing the damage of this fight. And it looks like Korean gets up thinking, this might be my last one. He's like, where's my corner? Korean Zombie might be like, this is my last fight, man. Yo, Korean Zombie, Koreans, just clone Korean Zombie, bring another one in. We won't know the difference anyway, man. We won't. We'll still love him the same. Korean look like his Korean days are behind him, man. It's different when you young and you too stupid to know you hurt. And then when you older, the older you get, the more in tune with your body you get. The older you get, the more pain hurts. I feel like. Or it could be the opposite, depending on how you train your body. But man, Korean's face is looking wilder right now. He's the bigger guy, but Alexander is showing some power. He's throwing these punches fast, and he's putting his weight behind him, and he's swinging and banging. The doctors are in checking Korean, making sure he's okay. Korean says I'm good. He can clearly see. His eyes are not closed shut. It's just the amount of damage. His face is turning purple. Man, beginning of the fourth round here, and Alexander in the center with Korean, Finn in the left jab. Korean started the third round hard. He might start the fourth round hard with some shots. We'll see what happens. Korean just walked into a right from man. Alexander is picking Korean's head off. Korean needs to practice his head movement. He keeps his head straight. And he's used to countering, but he's not countering. He's trying to counter, but he's slow. He's slower. And Alexander just won the fight. Herdine just stopped it. Korean caught too many shots. His reaction time was slow. He was trying to counter, but he couldn't. And Herdine stopped him. Korean just lost. Stopped in the third. Herdine tried to just save Korean. Korean basically out on his feet, and Herdine can see it. You said Australia. Yeah, that's what's up, man. That kangaroo meat out in Australia is something else. Good fight. What can I say? Um, End of the evening. Yo, bro. He said, I don't know. I'm sleepy too. Yeah, bro. I'm tired. It's 12:30 on the East Coast, man. I don't know where y'all at, but yeah, I'm definitely tired. I fell asleep during. I was watching the prelims and then fell asleep. Woke up right when Hamza and Gilbert Barnes started fighting. That fight was good. I felt like Gilbert won a moral victory. Hamza won statistically. Um, what did I learn from that fight? Hamza's got heart and he's good. He's a good striker. He didn't drop Gilbert Burns ever, so I didn't see that same crazy power. But I did see him. I did see him throw some shots and take some shots. He also got dropped, so Usman could probably drop him and beat him. That's how I feel. I feel like Usman can beat Hamza. Aljo squeaked by a victory over Peter Yan. Peter Yan showed he's got heart. And in the 5 round fight, he's in there. Aljo got weak in the 5th round. I feel like and lost that round, but the judges say he won the first 3, so it didn't matter. Um, I say that this fight with Alexander versus Korean Zombie, the outcome was as expected. Alexander looked like a dominant champ against an aging Korean Zombie. And Korean Zombie might want to take another year, 2 years off, and come back and probably fight again. But I don't know how much money he made. This isn't boxing. It's not like he made $1 million for a championship fight and he gets to go relax off of that. No, Korean Zombie maybe made I don't know 250, but anyway, that don't mean that this government ain't taking half of it off top because that's maybe what their government do. So wow, I'm looking at the Korean Zombies translator, and the Korean Zombies translator looks like like a pop star from like he looks like a weird Igbo R&B singer from Korea. I'm like, this is your translator, bro. I'm thinking it'd be like some business guy, older guy. Looks like he's an 18-year-old college student. Korean zombie man, he's fighting, but I'm wondering what he's fighting for at this point. Um, I don't know enough about him personally, but I know he puts his all in the ring, and I'm curious what he's fighting for. Obviously, to be the best, but I mean, I'm just look. I don't know much about him, so I don't. Who knows what his is?
Well, if this is ever your last fight inside the octagon, thank you very much for an amazing career. It's been an honor to call your fights. Chance on John, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, the first order of business to go see his children. And for Volkanovski, he does this for his country, for his daughters, Ariana and Airly. He wants to provide. He is providing. But obviously, you got thrill on one side, agony on the other. Paulie, as we spin it forward, though, for Alexander Volkanovski, a lot of people want to see the Holloway trilogy. There are Arnold Allen and other names lurking. Your thoughts on what lies ahead for Alexander? Yeah, I do have an opinion on this. It's kind of a strong, loose opinion, where I think that Volkanovski, at this point in his reign, has earned the right to kind of decide what's interesting to him, what's going to get him out of bed for the next title fight. If that's Max Holloway, then you give this man Max Holloway, because Max always deserved that shot. If it's Arnold Allen or a newcomer, Calvin Kattar, Josh Emmett, doesn't matter who it is. If that's going to excite the champion and he thinks that the new contender deserves that shot, I think with these dominating performances like this and this grit that he's shown as a champion, he gets a say in that. I think with a performance like this, it's not just that he's the best featherweight in the world, it's that he moves closer and closer to that number one pound for pound status. I mean, that was a spectacular performance. And that's what he wants, right? Yeah. I mean, that is what he desires. And certainly the Holloway series is appetizing for fight fans. There are a lot of different big names out there. Josh Emmett, given all he's accomplished on the injuries he had quite recently, so perhaps that's a name that keeps going off the series.
All right, guys, I'm out. Good fights.
And now he's in the Volkanovski. All right, time now to take a look at upcoming UFC schedule next Saturday. The rematch between Luque and Muhammad. This time the main event main card gets at 8:30 p.m.
Catch y'all later.
1 week later, the women on the marquee UFC fight. That's Lemos versus Andrade.